And welcome back to the Profile Pod. I'm your host, S.W.A.T, here for another spectacular episode of the pod. Thank you guys for tuning in once again, wherever you're tuning in from, the audio platforms, the visual platforms, anywhere. Always a pleasure being here as your host. And we have a very, very special guest in the store tonight. Once again, we always have the killer guests on the Profile Pod, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get going, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, and leave me a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, man. I always love getting the feedback and, you know, the interaction, the feedback in general, man. So I appreciate everybody's support out there on the social media, YouTube, Instagram. It's always a pleasure getting that support, man, because without that, you know, without an audience, there's no platform. So once again, thank you everybody for supporting. Don't forget about Social Nostra. It's a network of talented creators and podcasters available now on Roku TV and Instagram. So go check out the Social Nostra, everybody. There's something there for you. So give us a follow and tap in. So let's get down to brass tacks, man. I always like to cut to the chase, man. I'm not much of an intro guy. You know, I don't talk current events. I don't talk politics, anything. I get right to it, man, because I know that the audience, that's what the audience wants, man. You guys want the stories. You guys want the nitty gritty and the meat and potatoes. So let's get to it, man. This gentleman is here. He's an actor. He's been on many, many big, huge productions, man. Just to give you an idea, NCIS on television, LA Undercover. He's been on S.W.A.T. He's been on Hawaii Five-0. Couple of movies he's been on, The Wedding Ringer with Kevin Hart. Recently, he's with the Home Team starring Kevin James on Netflix. I mean, just to give you a glimpse, this gentleman is doing some big things, man. And it's an honor having him here. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Anthony Fernandez. How you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm great, brother. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, bro, are you kidding me, man? It's an honor having you here, man. And like I always say, brother, I'll say it to him, blue in the face. This is the podcast that we bring on individuals who are doing extraordinary things in life to inspire the human spirit, brother. And you're going above and beyond doing that. How's everything going, man? How you been lately? I always like to tap in, check in with my guests, man, before we get going.
It's been great. You know, I just had a little downtime. I've been doing some work. You know, Home Team dropped, and we had a great run with that. We also have Horchata, which we'll talk about. You know, that's going to be coming out soon. But other than that, man, I've been enjoying the family. I went out to Yosemite for the weekend last weekend and came back refreshed and, you know, ready to hit the ground running.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Yosemite's beautiful, man. Last summer, we have a trailer, and we were on our way to Mammoth. We came down from Sacramento, cut through Yosemite. First time ever. And it was beautiful, man. Were you guys camping? Do you have a trailer?
No, we stayed. It was actually, what's the spot? I think it's called Yosemite View Lodge, but it's about a mile away from the entrance of the park. So we were like the first on the hill there. So, you know, and plus we just needed the place to toss your bags. We didn't want to spend too much time in the room anyway. So, but it was beautiful because you walk out, you open the sliding glass, and right there is just the river running right behind you. And then you go up into the park and it's just more beauty, bro. And I haven't been out, honestly. You know, my kids have had to sacrifice a little bit because I haven't gotten them out into, you know, doing some camping or anything like I kind of got to when I was younger. So it was nice for me to start doing that. And, you know, that was just a great trip for us to take and get out in nature, you know, away from the city for a while.
I hear you, brother. You know, it's we almost sold the RV, man. This like a few months ago. We almost sold it.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, oh man, you know, I was looking at old, like, just not old, but pictures from last year, man. Just last year with the kids and the family. And I told my wife, I was like, oh man, you know what? No, we're not selling it, man. Because I realized what it's, you know, I had grown attached to it.
Sure.
And the memories you create, man.
Yeah.
It's priceless. You can't replace that.
Yeah.
And like, right. And then the kids.
And the kids, they're growing every second. You don't realize it. You could actually take a weekend away and come back, and there's just a little subtle change, like, and it goes so quick that anything that you own or anything you can do to kind of build those memories and keep them alive and stuff, man, good on you for, keeping it.
Yeah, right. Exactly, brother. And growing up, I had gone camping a couple times, man. But yeah, you cherish the camping in specifically, brother. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
they say that the family who stays together camps together, or the family that camps
Yeah.
together stays together, man. Because you're all and you're connecting with yourselves, with your bonding. It's just a special experience, man. So
Oh, yeah. Like less distraction. It was kind of interesting because we hit a certain point driving up, and then all of a sudden that phone service goes off. Wi-Fi is very hard to get a hold of, so the kids, you're literally forced to be in the
yeah,
moment with each other and things. The kids and they start to feel it. It's really a special thing that most of us haven't seen in a while.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I think we had some static there, my man. But yeah, exactly, man. You're forced to interact with each other,
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful thing, brother. But yeah, man, I see you're doing a lot of big things, Anthony. I admire you, man. Your work, your body of work.
Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. As an actor myself, and man, I mean, right. Let's get right into it, then, brother. I mean, the home team, man. I mean, that's the I got to watch that. I really enjoyed that. I mean,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you, man. No, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. And you were, I think you guys shot that in New Orleans, correct?
New Orleans, yeah. We were down there. I got to live there for almost 3 months. And it was amazing because it was my first time down there.
Okay. And you play the role of Calvin.
Calvin, yes. Marcos is my boy. Yeah, I play Calvin. He's a football dad, and he's very, very intense and passionate about his son's ball playing. And, Kevin James plays Sean Payton. And that was, it's based on a true story. So it was the year that he was suspended for Bountygate. He was the coach of the New Orleans Saints. And so he comes down to kind of get to know his estranged son a little bit better. And his son is he's on a junior high football team. And it's kind of cool because he ends up coaching their team, and I am definitely not a fan of it as the father Calvin in the film.
Right. No,
but amazing. I mean, Happy Madison, right?
Oh yeah, that's huge, man. That's huge. Absolutely, man. Is Calvin based on a real father son?
No, there are some characters in it. It was just a beautiful job. It was well written. The guy who plays Will, the other dad, Chris Titone, and his co-writer Keith Bloom. They got together during COVID, the shutdown, and so Chris Titone, who's the writer and plays Will, he is now engaged to Sean Payton's daughter, Megan Payton. And wow. It's he and Keith got together for that year, and they wrote the true story. There's so much detail and truth into everything. There was even I was asking him, well, why are some of the kids wearing the pink socks, or what was this? And, it was 2012, but they got down to a level of accuracy that was just phenomenal. It blew me away. And then even myself, I had my own kind of questions. He would tell me some of the true stories behind it, but there are definitely real characters. The kid Paulie, who keeps getting the football in the hiney, that he's a real guy. I saw one of his tweets, and they're in their, I believe they're young 20s now, and he was just he was so proud to have his character there. The rest were based on similar people. Even the cameo that Sean Payton himself made as the janitor, there was a janitor that was, that kind of character was based on. So I would say loosely based, but very detail oriented as to the characters and the story.
Yeah, man. And you mentioned the details because if I'm not mistaken, I saw one of the kids had a razor phone, right? Remember the old razor phone?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was, it was funny going back because it forced me, since I was a little older, to go back to 2012 in my mind, and we were thinking on, well, what can we do? What dances were popular? What was on the scene back then? So it was a little stroll down memory lane, and yeah, everything. Even I have my ring, and it's like the black one, that we're wearing nowadays, kind of like so you can lift weights and stay active and everything, but. When they were switching out props, I almost got away with it, or I don't know, I almost made a mistake. But then the prop guy came back. It's like, no, you gotta have this one because I don't think they had those in 2012. And so it was fun. It's always fun doing a period piece, but something that's not so far away from the time that we were in. You just notice the subtle differences. And if you were kind of an adolescent or younger, and now you're an adult, looking back on that, it was funny because I think it was like. When we were talking about the dances, I was like, well, should we do the Dougie or what was it?
That's right.
Everyone, of course, is on their phone Googling, and plus it makes those elements when I'm putting together the character, even before I got down there, I was kind of thinking, well, when is the time period? So you want to give life to everything. So you have to live before what we know, which is a fun thing to do.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Any cool or funny Kevin James stories on set that you could share with us, or any funny story on set that kind of.
You know what? It's so difficult because there weren't any. There were so many moments that were just fun because there was so much levity, and it was just a real fun set to be on. We had Taylor Lautner was on there, Rob Schneider. Jackie Sandler, Ashley Kelly, Chris Titone, and it was like even behind the scenes, everyone has such personality, and there were just it was nonstop. You go into on a Happy Madison, you're gonna get the riffs. We were riffing all the time, and. The fans. I will say one thing: the people that did the background work were amazing because they had to sit in the stands for extended periods of time, but they had such a chill vibe about them. They were so happy to be there that like they would really interact with us a lot, to the point where you would almost like, hey, yeah, okay, give them a line. But no, it was just fun. Every single time I went into work, you never knew what to expect. Lavelle was on there just in between takes, like when you're filming something. I can't think of anything specific, but just the natural personalities of everyone was constantly keeping everyone in good spirits. And we'd have some hot days, we'd have some long days, but I don't ever remember thinking to myself like, "Wow, I just want to get back to the hotel." Or even one of the exec producers, Alan Covert, and he was in Grandma's Boy and been in a bunch of other Happy Madison films. He was hilarious. I remember it was surreal watching him because he came on and did a cameo as one of the referees, and just hearing his cadence in that pitch, and I can't really do it myself, but it's that voice. I was just like, wow, this is amazing, because I grew up watching these guys, and they helped inspire me to get into the film and television industry, and just seeing them and working with them, it was amazing.
Man, that's I can't even imagine, man. What a cool experience, and to be on that set. Like you named all those actors and actresses. Did Adam Sandler ever come on set?
No, I didn't get to see him. I know he was on a tight schedule, and now after seeing this last one that he had, the basketball film on Netflix come out, I'm sure they were working on that. He's juggling so much.
Yeah.
But I did get to spend some quality time with every single one of the cast members, and it was an amazing thing. I have a lot of respect and love for Kevin James to do what he does, be so funny, but then he can be so endearing. And knowing that I was, in this case, like the nemesis, just the one that you're not going to sell me on this, and go toe to toe and eye to eye with him. That was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
just to see him work. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience being down there. And I got to talk with Rob Schneider, and he gave me some jewels. He gave me some really great advice that you just want to hear. And you never know. Every set that you walk on, every star that you admire and look up to, when you go on to act with them, you never know what to expect. And fortunately enough, in my entire career, I've never been on a set where I've been disappointed, and home team did not let me down. Everyone had great hearts. They're there to do the work. So, it's you have to come prepared and improve yourself, but at the same time, they're there with open arms and welcoming you. And like I said, they'd always, hey, why don't you try this out? That's a good idea. I'm gonna say that. And, we're on a time crunch, and it's a big production, so you only have a certain amount of time to get those takes. But everyone's so supportive and great, and I love being able to, the Three Stooges is kind of like what me and the other two parents were, Ashley and Chris. They were great to work with, and we would feed off each other. I remember, I think the entire time in between takes, we were reminiscing on R&B songs and what was back in the day, and singing, and it was just a great time. I have great memories. I'll always carry that one with me.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's like I said, man, it's epic, man. Must have been an epic experience for you. But yeah, and Kevin James, man, he seems like a very down to earth guy. Like you said, he's seems like very approachable. You could have a conversation with him, and what was he? How was it working with him specifically, man?
He was amazing. I would I would see him in the gym, and I'm one of those guys I don't like to disturb people too much while they're getting their workout on, but I respect him, because the times that I would see him that we didn't get a talk, and we were just kind of like a what's up. He's just very warm and about it. But then for me, as the witness, the fly on the wall, I'm getting there, I'm trying to do my thing and everything. You start to earn a respect when you see someone's process and see how much did they put into investing into themselves, their body, the character, being able to walk through those rehearsals and then just get a feel, like even the scenes that I wasn't in, that I would be on set that day, watching how much care that he took about getting the scenes right. And of course, we have a lot of the young men that were on set, the football players and everything, and he was just great as far as making sure no one went unnoticed, and always being positive. And I know he was hot in everything that he had to keep doing in between scenes and takes, and I know that's hard work sometimes. And when you're the one that's carrying the movie, it's a beautiful ensemble that they put together, but at the same time, that he had twice the work, if not more, than I had on that film. But always a smile on his face. He was never like, well, my time. It was never anything like that. He was always more than willing to talk, and it just makes me feel good as actor coming up to that last day when they wrapped, and I went and talked with him for a minute, and I was like, hey, let's grab a pic real quick. And it was just nice talking to him, saying, man, he's like, you did a great job. I wish we had some more scenes together. And I was like, all right, me too. But just hearing that feedback and, getting to know someone on the other side of the camera, it just feels great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I think some people have a misconception about acting, man. Like, you think, oh, you just show up and you say your lines, and that's far from the case.
Oh, yeah.
Far from the truth, man. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of pressure. There's deadlines. You got to rehearse. You have to, there's a business side to acting. There's a lot that goes into it, and especially a production like this, man. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, the scale and magnitude, I think it set in because when I was down there filming, since it was a football film, there were several different locations that they had to use for, different football fields and stadiums and looks and everything. And so we were still in kind of, the COVID restrictions were way heavy. So I would drive myself out from New Orleans to all these different parishes and the different places and schools that they would have. And there was just one in particular, you just hit with those moments of surrealism when I looked out and I saw all of the trucks, the catering, the equipment that they're pulling out, all the manpower, the extras. And, I was still on the road coming in. I just remember seeing it and thinking to myself, wow, this is so amazing. Like the amount of money and trust and time and care and effort that everyone collectively puts into that when you see it on that scale. I've seen some big movies, but I've never been a part of something on that big of scale. So then it hits you on a second layer where it's like, and then all of that stops. So everyone there is watching or aware of what you're doing, in your time. And so it's so much more than, to not have respect and love for it, and reverence. If you are fortunate enough to be blessed with those sort of gifts and blessings to work on sets, and that I don't think you belong there, because you know how it is when you feel like, when you hit that realization, you're like, this is such a special thing, and so many other talented people could be in the shoes that you're in right now, but I gotta wear them for that particular one. And then to know that everything stops and it's like cameras are rolling, you got your scenes, you got your lines, and it's different than even coming in and saying a couple of lines on a major production that's not really your thing. They'll have a little less patience sometimes with you, or it's like, no, you got to say these lines and then, bye-bye. But when you know that you're a part of it, and I could wander around and kind of just soak it in, and that just, it amazes me. It kind of, it reinvigorates me every time that I get on set, and I do that to, like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm doing. And, it just reaffirms how beautiful life is and how special I am to be able to take part in it.
Absolutely, man. Is it ever intimidating for you, Anthony? I mean, everything you just described, and something like this, man, and the home team, a production of this magnitude, of this size. Do you feel intimidated?
You know what?
Nervous?
That's funny, because when I think about it, because I do think about it a lot since that first day where someone decides, you know what, I'm gonna go into Hollywood. I don't know. I think that I've had enough of a past where it kind of prepared me for certain things. I think everyone kind of has nerves. It's just how it is. But I've never really had like fear when it comes to that. It's like dive in, but it's only as prepared as I am, as confident as I am, because I've been on both sides. There's sometimes where I thought that I didn't need to prep as much, and it was a big mistake. And I don't make those mistakes anymore. And then plus, when I first decided to start acting, I think that I was one of those times. I was never one of these guys that was like from wealth and, hey, you know what, I can buy the best acting classes, only $2,000 a month. Oh, cool. It was never that. I was at a point where it was almost like I was going one way, and then that was a route that came off of that, because I was going, let me just do this. Let me just get a degree, or let me just do some business. Let me just do something for my family to provide. And because I'm a creative person, it's just kind of that was on the house. Like, no, why don't you try this real quick?
Yeah.
So I was at a point where I wouldn't, if I told somebody I was going to come on and I was going to give them emotion and I was going to be realistic and organic and give them these lines, I was almost at a point of desperation where I'm like, there's no way I'm showing up and not doing it. And so I don't care how many people are watching me. There's no nerves. As long as I'm prepared in what I'm doing, I'm going to go out there. And it's still like that to this day. There are some times where I could be in a room of 20, 30 people, and sometimes I get a little hot or something, and I'm like, okay, wait, what was I going to say? But I can go in front of 100, 200, 3,000 people, and the camera can focus on me, but I just lock in and I go for it. So I don't know. I just think a lot of it is how prepared you are. A lot of it is how much you're willing to gamble and just jump. There's so much in this business. You're at the edge of a cliff, jump and just have faith, and let it just consume you and take it, and that's kind of where it's gone. It's how I've worked my entire life. And it's also just been a part that has really worked well in the entertainment industry, where taking big risks pays off. If you do it the right way. And, I honestly to this day don't know exactly what that formula is, but it's definitely People trust me with work. They trust me with being the heavy. They trust me with taking. They have trusted me with crossing over from the heavy and giving me comedy and more like familial type roles. And I respect and am so aware of what a gift and blessing that is too. So just thankful and grateful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I was telling you about the recent role I booked. I shot a scene on the stationary bike, and
Yeah.
oh, excuse me. I was talking to my son, and he was asking me how'd it go. And I said, good, good. And he said, okay. He asked me, so what did you take from it? And I was like, oh, I was kind of impressed with him. He's 20 years old, so I was like, oh shit, okay. So so I what I told him was, and I said, you know what? They kind of modified my lines a little bit, and but I told him it wasn't that hard of an adjustment to make because of the fact that I had prepared myself for that scene. It was only like 4 lines I had, but I prepared. I took it seriously. I prepared for it. So it wasn't that. It was on the fly, so I felt comfortable with making that adjustment.
Yeah.
Only because of the preparation, man. As you just alluded to, I mean, and that goes for anything though. You prepare your ass off. You're preparing for success. If you fail to prepare, if you don't prepare, then you're preparing to fail, right?
Exactly.
And that goes for anything, right? But I think your confidence level when you prepare yourself to, and you just know you got it, man. That confidence level comes
Sure.
out, right?
Yeah. And if it's a couple lines or it's 4 lines, or there's been I think there was even a time where 2 lines sometimes could mess you up. Like I remember, I reflect back to, I think, Days of Our Lives. So I had this, I played like, I come in and I threw Bo to the ground, and I said a couple of lines, but I remember I was going over them so much. It was like just, I would go to the point where I almost was worried that I would lose it. But in the moment, everything comes back to you, but that's true. So like, I can feel how even a few lines, you're preparing for that thing, and then an adjustment. Kudos and respect, bro, because even a few lines, I've seen, there's been some actors that literally like 1 line, and in the moment, if I don't necessarily think, because obviously you're there for a reason, you've earned that spot, but I have seen sometimes where an actor will have to go over it a bunch, and it's just been like the one thing, but I would never judge them for that, because I have been in those situations where even though I was prepared, something just didn't go right, or your body, your mind and body have a way of kind of geeking at certain times. And, I always run hot too. So when I'm really relaxed and comfortable and in the zone, I love it. But I felt that uncomfort or the discomfort sometimes. And then my own mind is kind of trying to trick me into, no, you're not as prepared as you were, or how about this? And so it really is important that, like, the preparation, because that's the only thing that'll kind of get you through that, even if you got to fake it till you make it, or you got to, readjust to something that wasn't. And then I still hear stories like one of my favorite series that I used to watch was Deadwood. And I remember the doctor that was in that one. And I think it was a story I had heard about it where he was a little upset because it was like some scene that they were just going to be, he had everything down and they were constantly rewriting things, and, like soap operas will do that. So there are a lot of, acting and writing that they'll constantly be writing while they're trying to rehearse and learn their lines. But it turned from like a few lines into, he said, like a monologue, and it wasn't just one, it was like a multiple page monologue. And but that's the type of acting that I always like and aspire to. That's one of the biggest, I think that honestly, and if you agree with me, you can tell me, but I think that's one of the biggest things that stops people, because how many people would say that they didn't want to be a movie star? But I think that that's one of the biggest things is the lines. I think that people are so worried about being on the spot and not remembering their lines, because that's one of the biggest questions that I get. So how do you remember your lines? And, some of the best actors that I've seen have a problem with lines, but it goes back to that preparation. If you go over something enough times, you find the system that works for you, and you have a passion for it, to, you love it enough to care about the outcome, then, that's what gets you through. And no matter how much rewriting, like, some of our acting coaches will tell us, they'll say, if you understand the content, that's why it's so vital for you to maybe not necessarily get the word for word down, but if you understand what's going on in the scene and understand what your character wants, and then you raise the stakes, and if you understand that, then even if the conversation, like I've been on somewhere, we've improv a little bit, or I've seen really great actors where they'll say the line, it'll deviate, but I say that's a great thing as long as the other actor that you're going with can go along with that, and it can go this other crazy route completely, and then come right back to where it needs to connect again, and that's beautiful, that's organic, and that's acting.
Wow, man.
But yeah, the lines.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That's, I've always wondered that, like, wow, because memorization comes into play, and all that stuff, man. And it's interesting, man. It's interesting. You're very versatile, man. You've played in many different types of roles, Anthony. Is there a particular role or typical type of a character that you kind of that you really enjoy, man? I mean, obviously, I think you enjoy every role that you have, or any type of character, but is there one particular character type that you just really love, man, that you really enjoy?
Well, first, playing Calvin was amazing. The fact that they let me keep my tattoos on my neck was amazing. I've been fighting that my entire career and trying to get in the door before they close it. I use Illustrator, alcohol-based makeup, and there's been some jobs that I've literally booked and shot, and they never knew. If they did, the door would have been closed in my face, and they wouldn't have even given me the opportunity. But that one, I'm really pleased and proud, just because my kids can sit down and watch it, and get to see me over and over. But as far as the character types, I started out playing the heavies, the cholos, the tough guys, gangsters, and I always love that. Playing the bad guy is really fun. There are no rules that you have to live by, whereas the hero has to live by codes and honor. And but as they allow me to cross over more and play more comedic roles, and I go for those hero roles, or the number one spot, and I'm striving for that. But there's always going to be that little layer or lining of you can see something with me, and that's just who I am. That's who I am in real life. Bad guy turned good. But as far as the characters, I want to play everything that quote unquote they wouldn't cast me for it, or think I couldn't play. I love period pieces. I love true stories. I grew up, I love Westerns. I love the fact that, I always wanted to, in my mind, I've said it over and over again, that I want to make myself marketable enough or important enough for them to say, I don't care how many tattoos he's got. We want him in this Western. We're going to make it happen. We'll make him look legit. And, I match whatever opportunity that director, production, casting directors, whatever opportunity they give, I match, as far as wanting to make them look good, that they made the right decision, show them how dedicated I am. This is not like a hobby. This was me jumping off, taking my family with me, going over the cliff and saying, I have no idea if we'll land safely or not. And, that's the type of dedication that I want people to see in every character that I play, and I want to represent for the community. Because, quite frankly, we talk about diversity all the time. And we talk about how much the makeup is of any Latino, Latin American, South American in the industry. But yet every role has to go out of their way to have the little abuelita, or they bring in the mariachi music, and like that. You're still supposed to play that stereotype. But I'm just of the belief that that these roles they create, they shouldn't be based on the fact that we happen to be that culture. It should just be people of that culture that are in the same circumstances that every other race and culture find themselves in. You know, whether it's the spouse, the husband or wife that's been cheated on, or it's the parent that has the delinquent teenager that they're dealing with, or somebody that finds out they have a terminal ailment. We belong in these stories and these roles, which a lot of times I think we're subjugated to the secondary or the third or even in the background. And when they do bring us in, they bring us in to spicy it up. And my thing of playing those characters is it doesn't mean I don't want to play those characters, and it doesn't mean that those stories aren't worthy of it. But yeah, how many lead characters are Latino or Mexican, you know, that happen to lead a complete ensemble cast where the whole cast isn't focused on the fact that it's because they're from that culture. So yeah, I mean, give me a couple Six Guns and you know, those type of stories, I always like it. You know, the Revenants and even the gangster stories. And the more you find out about how much we were there for history in certain things that they kind of left us out of, like we were there for a lot. So, you know, I don't know what character specifically, but I know that it's breaking boundaries.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. I like that, man. That's important, man. That's important. That's I was watching your scene with opposite Wilmer Valderrama, NCIS, right? With you were cooking breakfast.
Yeah.
And you play you had
the jailhouse spread.
Yeah. right. That breakfast was looking good, man. And then you poured the grape jelly on it.
Yeah.
And Wilmer was like, okay, I think I'm gonna pass. Why don't we go out to eat? And then like the scene turned around, like all of a sudden it got real serious. Real cool scene, man. But I enjoyed that, man. That was I think it's on your IMDb reel. Yeah, if you, ladies and gentlemen, go check out Anthony's IMDb. You'll get a lot of snapshot of his work there with his reels, his acting reels, but yeah, I think you played Luis Carter on NCIS, correct?
Man, you know what? That was a fun scene. It was a fun episode to film. I believe we were on there for like 2 weeks. Every episode will take 2 weeks to film, but that particular scene, I'm glad you brought that one up because I don't know. To me, you can tell, but I was there, so it's difficult. But like, it's so endearing that particular scene, and I believe it was one of the last ones that we had shot because not everything is in order. But you know, we went through that breakfast scene, and you know, kudos and respect and love to the crew because we had to do it multiple times, and every time I would just load that jelly up and. But it really was a nice scene, man, because the connection, you know, I had heard that they hadn't really done that with Wilmer's character, kind of do the whole buddy thing. And just to be able to work with him and get the advice that I heard, and then to be able to work with Mark Harmon, that was just an amazing thing. One of the ones I always bring up is Summer School.
So far.
You know, I remember I even believe he was in, I can't remember exactly what they entitled it, but it was, another Tombstone movie, like a Western, I just remember watching him as a kid and we went over that scene. That was the heaviest scene that I had because I believe that scene was like 8-9 pages, straight hardcore dialogue. And we ran through it. They trying to decide, and those are those moments where I step up and they say, no, we're going to do it because they're deciding whether they want to clip it up into sound. Like, no, let's see how much we can get all the way through. And we went through it every time all the way through. And but to look over the table, he was like, hey, you worked on that one. I was like, yeah, I did. To get that look from him, respect to him because it's amazing. And just knowing you get a bounce dialogue off of such heavyweight actors is an amazing thing. And at some point you do kind of get that feeling like, you know what, I belong here. Aside from any nervousness, any jitters, I belong here. And I just thought it was a great story because that was my character, Luis Carter, Everything that he embodied was sort of who I was, except for going to prison for as long as he had. But I was able to bring so much more of me to him without having to create it on the exterior. And I'm just so thankful that they gave me such a heartwarming storyline.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I watched that scene too with Mark Harmon. It's on your reel, and that was a powerful scene. Yeah, man, you went hard on that. Absolutely, yeah. Man. There's no joking around there.
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I want to take it back a little bit though, Anthony. I'm sure you get this a lot, man, and actors get this a lot. What inspired you to get into acting? Take us back to that moment where you decided you were gonna jump into this and commit to it and give it a shot.
Well, we talked earlier, and I grew up on the road a lot. It was always moving. There was a new place, and I was not born out of wealth. Everywhere we landed, it was government housing and food stamps, and I remember. I'm old enough to remember you go in the grocery store and the generic was the all white box that just said cereal on it. So, I didn't realize it at the time, but there was a lot probably going on when I was little, emotion-wise, and just one of the comforts I always had was movies. You could go see a movie, or around that time we were Blockbuster and rent movies, and those were the characters and the people that I was closest to. So I think at some point in time I started getting older, and I kind of left it alone and started running the streets more. You forget about those things that gave you comfort because you find new comforts. And so, years later and a lot of miles later, I found myself kind of, I weaned myself off the streets by bouncing. I got my first job bouncing at a nightclub in '99, and it was in Anaheim, called the Boogie.
Cowboy Boogie.
And so it was good enough to get me out of the streets, but it was only because I could still indulge in those things that I was partaking in for a legitimate paycheck. And so, that's all it was about. I was single, I was young, I was making a lot of money, and, fighting every night, and probably drunk every night too. And so as far as I was concerned, I was living the life. And so even I remember I had me and my best friend, my roommate, he worked with me too. We were both co-managers there. We had like our music studio at the pad. So it was like every night after, AM, we'd be sitting there drinking and rapping. And so I was like, oh yeah, no, that's what it's going to be. I'm a rap, and if anyone saw me back there, man, you wouldn't even think it. Bald hair, I got tattoos all over here. Everything I wore was black, Right. And 2006, that club closed, but that was the same year that my now wife and I got together. Instant family. I was like, I got it, but that was the same year that the club closed, and I didn't really have a degree or education or anything. So I floundered around for a while trying to find whatever security work, but that wasn't paying like the club was. And so I was kind of like, you know what, I give up. I'm going to go back to school. I'm just going to go get some jobs, screw the dreams or whatever. Then at some point, even then, it rides with you. I think like even me thinking I would be like a rap star. I was like, you do a rap star, and then we put you in the movie, and then you get so you get this. But all of a sudden, within a year or two, I find myself kind of off the track that I was thinking. And so when I went back, it literally was, I'm just going to start getting a business degree, because you need to know business in whatever it is. I still haven't found what I love again. And so I was choosing, and the college was right over in Cypress, California, Cypress College, community college. And I just went to start, and they wanted you to choose electives. So I was like, okay, cool. Choose something that I like a little bit. And I was like, oh, acting. And I was like, It's like, well, it might help. And at that time, I'm going to be honest, man, my ego was the lowest it's ever been. My confidence was the lowest it's ever been. I was still drinking really heavy, and I just didn't know where it would go. I felt almost like I was failing, as a husband and a father and provider. But, you know, just being in college, I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to do that. And I love him to death to this day. My first acting teacher is Mark Majarian. And the way that he just instructed her, it just opened up something in me. It was therapy. I loved going to class. It started reinvigorating the ego, and I kind of got, you know, okay, you know, and but I studied for like 3-4 years there. And then finally I was like, you know what, I was supposed to be like, okay, on to the next, or, you know, let me go to school, or let me go and try and find a job. But it was kind of like, that was itching in, like, let me try this one last thing, just for me. Let me try to, I can, if I can do everything that I've done in life up to this point, I can do this. Let me take it to Hollywood. And so after a bit of like thinking about it, I finally decided, and that was probably around like 2009, maybe. Okay. So from 2006 to 2009, I think maybe it was 2010, something like that. So like 3 years later, I decided that was it, and I was going to try. And at that time, you know, luckily we had a few things where you could go online and submit. You know, they had LA Casting and some of the sites there. So, and there was, you know, I just believe God puts everything in order and structure, and as long as you walk, you'll find it. Yeah. If you don't, and you sit and you just say, I want something, it's not going to happen, because you're not finding it. Yeah. But one of the guys that was in my class, he was like, hey, by the way, this was the time when I think kind of like graduating, you know, we're kind of out. It's like classes were done. We've done as much as we could there. And I'm like, I'm still over here. I'm pretty far away from Hollywood. I want to be there, but I don't know how you jump into it. And just luckily there was this one friend of mine named Lloyd, and he was like, hey, by the way, I have this connection, this friend of mine, and they know of a studio up in Studio City, North Hollywood area. And he was like, it's, if you want to go. And that was exactly the type of connection and adventure I wanted from that point. I was like, oh, I'm down. Let's go do this.
Anthony, man, you've done so much, man. You're doing so much. And I mean, you're going to continue to do your thing, man. You're an inspiration, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that, really.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, great story, man. And you know, I look forward to all your future work, brother. And before we wrap things up, man, where can everybody find you? Where can they connect with your work? You know, social media, websites, IMDb, et cetera, man. Go ahead and plug.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Instagram, actor Anthony. That was actually a good one I pinned, because I knew, I was like, the easiest thing for someone to remember my first name and that I'm an actor. So actor Anthony on IG, and you can find me on Twitter, actor Anthony as well. Also, you know, Facebook, look up Anthony L. Fernandez. If you're interested in seeing more of my resume and my work, go to imdb.com and then look up Anthony L. Fernandez. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying TikTok now, so be patient with me. I believe I'm actor Anthony or actor Anthony L on that one, just depending on what it is. But, you know, I'm kind of one of those caught in, half out. I'm with the times, and I know what you got to do, but you know, slow start.
Yeah, I got to check that TikTok out, man. You're doing some
yes, sir,
skits and stuff, or funny skits.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you would think I would be doing a whole lot more of them, but it just I haven't really gotten into that rhythm yet. I enjoy giving advice, you know, on Twitter, and I'll put out acting advice for people who are up and coming, because that to me is one of the most important uses for social media. But, you know, aside from it's just establishing my brand, promoting, I really enjoy the work that I've done as well. You know, I'm proud of it. So, you know, further down the road, who knows what I want to do. I think about teaching, you know, but I still got some work to do myself. So this year, you're going to see a lot more of that. And yeah, with the TikToks, we've been behind the scenes working on a few things. So we're going to give a few different things to try and see what we can come up with. And, you know, collaborations too. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you. I'll try and make it to that 100th we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
And we'll chop it up more, but that's what I'm about. Just make these connections and content, and who knows where they lead. And And just by someone's idea or by people becoming comfortable and acquainting themselves with each other, magic can happen that way. And that's what opens doors and creations to other things. So yeah, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm enjoying life right now and, you know, hustling hard.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, man. Yeah. No, I wish you all the success, brother. Continued success. And yeah, like you said, man, we can hook up later on and hopefully meet in person and
yes, sir.
You know, maybe work together somehow. You never know. So
yep.
I want to thank you once again, man, for taking the time being here on the Profile Pod right here with myself. And like I said, man, it's an honor having you here, man. So appreciate you.
My pleasure. Absolutely. I would not be doing anything. I would not want to be doing anything else tonight and right now. And I really enjoyed my time chopping it up with you. And like I say, you know, when we were talking earlier, the things that sometimes we don't want to share, we think aren't valid or important in our lives, they can do so much for somebody who's listening and watching. And that's what I'm all about. You know, I want to be, I was blessed to want to be the blessing, and that's what I want to continue to do. And I think it's important to share the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, just so that people don't feel so alone of like there's something they should or could be doing different. It's hard just the way you say, and that can't buy me love. It's hard enough just to be yourself. It's true.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know,
that's
what I want to do.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, we're all different. We're yet so alike, man. So,
my
once
brother.
again, absolutely, man. I appreciate you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Anthony L. Fernandez, actor extraordinaire. Go check him out. Go connect with him. Go watch his work, and you'll be entertained, man, for sure. And so I want to thank everybody for tuning in once again right here. Where if you're tuning in on the audio, the video, anytime, anywhere, man, however you're tuning in, man. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to connect with me on Instagram. Go follow Anthony. And let's build that community, man. Continue to build unity and community and network and all that good stuff, man. So thanks again. Thank you, everybody. For Anthony L. Fernandez, I'm A.A, your host of the Profile Pod. We will see you guys next week right here on another episode with another outstanding guest. So once again, thank you guys. And always remember to take it easy. Thanks again, Anthony.
My pleasure.